Someone this morning, well, perhaps yesterday, someone mentioned in a note that she's still working on abandoning expectation and attachments. It doesn't require any work at all, although it feels to us that it does. If we want to abandon expectation, which is a good thing, and abandon attachments, meaning being overly attached to someone so that we're desperate to have him or her in our lives, continuing to be in our lives. The easiest way is to stop thinking about that. So all we have to learn, all we needed to learn this weekend to come away transformed, meaning in control of our grieving and our longing and our fears, is to learn to live in the moment as a witness as much as possible, because automatically living in the moment as a witness eliminates the expectation, the attachments, the fears. Let's try it. We've been experimenting with it, trying it out a few times, but now in earnest, let's go together into the witnessing process. So begin by taking the deep breath, breathe in deeply, and feel as you exhale that you are releasing tension and stress from your body and mind, and automatically allow the body to take over its own breathing process. Let the body breathe by itself. Don't worry about it. Don't try to regulate the breathing, quiet the breathing. Just let the body breathe any way it wants. But you step outside of the body and be an observer of how the body is doing, just to observe it as a witness for a minute or two. Our body has its own intelligence. It knows when it needs rest. It knows when it needs food and drink. But we don't listen to the body. We force, we demand, we discipline. No wonder the body becomes tired and unwell. The body also knows when it needs activity, needs to run, needs to dance. All that's needed to live more intelligently is to be in the witnessing state rather than in the judging state. The mind is the last to know what it needs. The observer knows. So all we're doing right now is acquiring a taste for the witnessing state. It's not difficult. It's the easiest approach in the world to a peace of mind. And now, because we are in a very special place, this is Ananda Ashram. Ananda means bliss, the center of bliss. Because we're in this rarefied atmosphere, there may be a better chance of your being aware of that sound current. Why is that important? Because that sound current can be used as a tool, a weapon, if you wish, against the negative thinking that we want to end. So take a moment or two in the stillness to gently focus on the sounds that you're aware of. That inner sound current is not heard by means of the ears, but through awareness, attention. It is there. It's just a question of the mind being quiet enough through the witnessing process to be aware of it. Just check and see without anxiety. It's usually heard as a high-pitched ringing sound. Again, if you're not aware of that sound as yet, please don't worry about that. You are aware of it when you're not anxious or eager to be aware of it. It's there when we're relaxed and quiet. We become aware of its being there. And then, when we meditate and we need to relax within a short period of time or go to sleep in a relaxed state, we just focus on that sound current, which changes according to the environment and our state at the time that we're meditating. I think of that sound as a good friend, always available. So those who are aware of that sound, just for a few minutes, keep your attention gently there and see what happens. Each time it may be different. And those who are not aware of it, just allow your attention to move wherever it is attracted, from second to second. And the result will be the same. The tension will fall away. The expectations will fall away. The restlessness will fall away. Just by watching effortlessly as a witness. Karana, would you end with a minute or two of chanting?
Asatoma Sadgamaya Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Om.
Thank you, Karana. I am not going to praise you because you ordered me not to. And I always listen to very powerful women. But I will say the thought came to me that one day we should have a silent retreat with just Karana chanting. That would work, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. So thank you, Karana. You coming this afternoon for the dance? Oh, you're working. You're here now? I know. Sit there because one of the questions you're going to answer, you know which one, the reason you brought the gong for. Somebody asked, let's see if I can find it quickly. Please explain why the ringing of the bowl is used for yoga classes. And I asked Karana because I thought she would know, and she gave me a delightful Karana answer. So tell them what you told me.
Oh, I just said that it changes the energy from the thinking, just sets up that vibration, that inner nadam that Joan was talking about. So it moves the energy body, the physical body, into that dynamic energy state. That's not what I said to you, but
Oh, this is better. This is good.
It changes.
You changed too. But it's good. Both are good.
Changes the energy from our normal thinking, doing, sensing, etc. So it's like that eraser, the cosmic eraser.
You didn't say that to me yesterday.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay. You know, at this ashram, because we are the children, we are the students, the disciples of that extraordinary master. He was a master of Yoga Vedanta, a master of life, a master of the mind experience. We grew up in his company. I'm more than 30 years with him. I'm actually 47 years with him. Karna, many years, 25, 30. He used anything to stop our minds, anything to give us the peace we needed. He tried many different experiments with us. The only thing he didn't like us to do is waste our time asking theoretical questions. He said there are books for that. You can read about that. Nowadays, he'd be thrilled. You go on the internet, you can find out anything there. So anything you want about your health, about Hinduism, about Jain, anything you want. But in this place, he insisted that we ask questions from our heart, from the nut of our heart. In yoga Sanskrit, it's called granthi, the knot of the heart, where we're feeling tight, where there's something missing, where no matter how happy we are, that happiness lasts 2-3 days, and then we say, no, something's missing. What's missing? Our Guru was very practical. He looked at us. He loved people. He loved to serve people. It was his nature. And he felt such a wave of compassion for unnecessary grieving, unnecessary sorrow. We get ourselves into such nonsense when you're all so young. There's a rain outside to enjoy. Instead of saying, oh, I was hoping to get some sun. That's all you were hoping to get? I was hoping you'd get total freedom, that you'd be the sun itself, shining upon yourself. There's so much out there. There was somebody with us as we drove up to the building, and there were 2 geese looking right at us and making the greatest noise I've ever heard. They were having a conversation. Now, I took it that I was being scolded for something, because those honking geese sound like they're some ancient bullies that used to attack me. They just had that sound. I was with Dharma Dev. Where's Dharma Dev? Dharma Dev says, oh, look, that's the mating call. I said, what? What? How do you know, Dharma Dev, it's the mating call? But it depends on our outlook. For some, honking geese are talking to each other in love language. For others, if we still have that taste of bullying from incarnations past, we will associate that sound with that. But who cares? Who cares if Dharma Dev is right or I'm right? Once I turned away from it, it was just gone. We have to turn away from things that aren't important, that are weighing us down, stopping us from having a good time, raining on our parade. We have a parade. We really do. Every day is a celebration. And I'm going to prove it to you this afternoon with the I Am dance. I'm sorry, but for 1 minute or 2 minutes, I'm going to set you up to feel very bad. Don't laugh at me, Selma. But I will simulate kind of a sad mood for all of us. I have my ways. But then I will show you with other techniques that are used with the I Am dance, just the introduction to it. And you're doing those techniques, you will find miraculously you can instantly change that mood. You'll see. Trust me. It happens every time. And the people who are smiling at me, they're nodding. Yes, that's why we come, Joan, for the I Am dance. Many people come for different aspects of this retreat. Some come for the food. They told me that in notes. I loved everything but the food. And they're teasing me, of course, because they're old friends. So I'm going to go into these questions. There are quite a few of them. And the only ones that I really won't pay that much attention to are the theoretical ones. I think I saw a couple of them. I'm going to set the mood, though, with a lovely note that was handed to me in the dining room. When I arrived on Friday, a feeling of peace quickly came to me. I did feel I was home. Before I go on, this is someone about 10 years ago, seems to me 10, I had to drag, kicking and screaming, to a silent retreat. I knew she needed it. And years later, this is what I'm hearing, although from that retreat on, that first one, the notes were similar. When I arrived on Friday, a feeling of peace quickly came to me. I did feel I was, in quotes, home. On Saturday, after that wonderful film, I meditated in the Cosmic Temple. I had no idea how long I meditated, minutes, an hour. Afterwards, I started reading a book, summarizing Guruji's writings. I felt I was understanding them, the writings, more deeply than I ever had before. I always heard, in quotes again, the words in the past, but I felt them deep inside. But I always heard the words in the past, but I guess she meant now I felt them deeply inside. I think my resistance to his teachings is gradually melting away. It was never a conscious resistance. Thank you, as always, for making such a profound weekend possible for us. The resistance, I wish I could go into this question with you. I'd love for you to give me your feelings about why there is resistance to yoga, resistance to meditation sometimes, resistance to a great master's teachings. Why? Sri Nisargadatta in I Am summed it up when somebody said, Nisargadatta asked him, "Why do you come to see me?" And the man said, "I come to see you for your great knowledge. I come to see you for your experience as a yogi." He said, "No." He's very fresh, Nisargadatta. "No, that's not the reason. You come to see me to commit suicide." What did he mean? We know what he meant. He meant it means the death of your ego. That ego, given another definition of ego, is our past. We don't want to give that up because it's the only thing that gives us a sense of belonging in this world, of having a place in this world. I don't want a place in this world. I want a place in the cosmos, because that's where we belong. Don't limit yourself. When you limit yourself, you're like the frog who was born in a well, and he thinks that well is the most incredible place he's ever been. He can't believe how happy he is in that well until another frog looks down and says, "Hey, what are you doing down there?" He says, "I'm in a terrific place, jump down." He says, "No, I don't want to jump down. Jump out and I'll take you to a more fantastic place. I don't live there, but I visited there. It's called the ocean. I went there one day to visit, but I really live in a river, which is still better than where you live." We don't know. That's why we have to listen to those who know. So I thank you for that note, good friend of mine. I'm going to go through these now. This one just came in, so I'll put it later. Someone just wrote, cryptic note, "Third silence of Buddha is a reflection of the divine." Yeah, but again, the lofty language is wonderful that tells your background, where you come from, the great masters you've studied with. You know this language. The third silence of Buddha is a reflection of the divine. Sure, why not? It's a nice way to put it. But how does that help us? That's what Sri Brahmananda would say. What good is it to know those lovely words? That's nice later on. It's a reflection of the divine. Sounds wonderful. Let's meditate. No, don't do it. But listen to what a real master says. He's saying something we can use. He's saying something that will change us so that we can be the exalted. What was that? Divine. See how quickly forget? The exalted divine reflection. But right now we just want to be happy. We have to listen. A Buddha's silence, this is what we read last night, not last night, Friday night. A Buddha's silence is a third type of silence which you have never known. It is neither with noise nor with no noise. Buddha is just silent. Not that he has forced his words to be silent. It's not a stillness with effort. He's simply silent because I know some of you remember this. I love it. The Buddha is simply silent because there's nothing else to do. There's nothing he wants to say. There's nothing he wants to show or do. It's just being in the moment of bliss. He's in the desireless state. That's the third silence that we have to move into. I've been watching. You don't know I've been watching all of you. Occasionally I went over and gave probably 5 or 6 hugs to 5 or 6 people because they looked like they needed it. People I know whom I knew wouldn't mind being touched. I first asked, can I hug you? Then I would do it. Otherwise, don't do that. But I've been watching, and some people who are always smiling, always happy, always giving and sharing and loving, very serious expressions because there was no eye contact and they were in touch with something. I don't know. I'll hear about it, I'm sure. But their faces had changed. Their faces were profound. Their faces were, I don't want to give a name, but different. Because we are usually exhibiting the personalities that have been formed by our parents, our environment, our education. You know, if we were raised to be courteous and kind and generous, that's the personality, that's the face. But I was fascinated. I would pass somebody, he didn't know, she didn't know that I was looking, just checking, and the person was almost unrecognizable. One person who's very young past me had turned into a woman this weekend. Something happened because you went into your origin. And a beautiful woman, I must say. Ordinarily, just attractive woman. Passing me, beautiful woman. Because she was moving with the moment, the nature. So he is simply silent because there's nothing else to do. This silence is positive. It is not the opposite of words. This silence is in the middle, not on the other extreme of noise or no noise. One extreme is words, the other extreme is wordlessness. The silence of a Buddha is just in the middle. There is no word, there is no wordlessness. He is simply silent, not against noise. In other words, it is the reflection of the divine. You see, we got there anyway. But the other is something that can change you, transform you. And that's why he always emphasized not theoretical knowledge, not book knowledge, but heart knowledge. What will instantly open that knot. You notice I'm not pointing to this heart. This heart. In Sanskrit, this is the Hridayam, the center of your being. is mostly in a knot. I'm talking about myself as well. And you find incredibly, once you see, people are having difficulty witnessing because you don't believe in it. You're not sure of it. You believe in thinking, analyzing, using logic. That's what they told you. Has it helped you? No. Otherwise, you wouldn't be running to a silent retreat, looking for all these answers. Witnessing is easy when you give up on thinking, when you say it hasn't worked to help me solve any emotional problem. Has it? Don't talk. I'm in a playful mood, so you have to forgive me. I'm feeling very happy today. So raise your hand if you think that the analyzing you did, the use of knowledge when you were having emotional problems, has that ever helped you? If it has, raise your hand. Good. Otherwise, I'd have to take you home and adopt you because you're on the wrong track. So I'm just pointing out, that's why I found the reading again, to remind you that the only knowledge that is worthwhile is knowledge that directly helps you. That's what we learned from him. Okay, I keep putting these questions away. I shouldn't do that. It means I don't want to answer too many. Let's see. This keeps popping up. It just came today. I can make short work of this. We are open to many different religious traditions. Then why do we only chant in Sanskrit? Also, if we follow the chanting of the language, why are we not embracing all of Hinduism, its many gods and beliefs? If we follow that chanting of the language, oh, okay. Why are we not embracing all of Hinduism and its many gods and beliefs? For those who like that, for those who find that appealing and comforting and interesting, our teacher gave us many a program on the Hindu gods and the other beliefs in Hinduism. He was a guru for all seasons. The first 10 years of our time with Guruji, he was mainly writing scientific essays, speaking in scientific terms. He was a neurosurgeon, background in psychiatry and physics and endocrinology. A great scholar. I never met anyone like Guruji. But we had a different crowd of people coming then. We had people from the United Nations. We had doctors. We had scientists. We had people from the academic world. It was a very intellectual ashram then. And we became accustomed to Guruji's essays, which we never understood. They were so high, so scientific. And then he would ask, how many understood and enjoyed? We didn't know. So during those 10 years, he was catering to the guests, the audiences who came. And we were serving the guests. We were cooking and cleaning and organizing. That's what residents and devotees do. We serve the guests. This ashram was open for the public to serve the guests. We're not here to serve one another as the devotees. You are the reason this ashram was founded. And he drummed that into our heads. We never sat up front. We always sat in the back. We never had a pillow if a guest didn't have a pillow. That's our training from this great guru. This middle period of the time we were with him 30 years. The middle period, he went away for 5 years telling us each year, I'll be back next year. It dragged out to 5.5 years. Now we know why he did it. He traveled a lot, especially that last one, big trip, because he was preparing us for now, when also he would be here, his presence here, but without the physical form. So when he came back, we were shocked. He had left in white, the clothes, the medical outfit that they wear in India, a white Nehru silk jacket and cotton pants. He came back dressed in an orange robe and a stick and a thing. And he said, "This is new costume, you like?" He said, "This is costume of sadhu, a renunciate. That orange color is the color of the sun, the energy sun. It means renouncing material life, that's all." And during that time, for the person who wrote this question, we were shocked because the scientific essays turned into essays about gods and rituals and that kind of thing. And the intellectual in us, we recoiled, but he said we have to get over that. We have to enjoy this part of the show as well as any other part. He was already preparing us to drop our preferences and enjoy a rainy day as much as we enjoy a sunny day. It's being in the moment of the now where everything is good. It's the opinions that cause us tension, the preferences. So to go to the first question, why do we chant only in Sanskrit? Because that was his specialty. And by the way, when Buddhist masters come, we chant in their special chants from their point of view. We're very adaptable at this ashram. We chant anything that's taught to us. It's like a baby. You know, a baby can learn any language easily. While we struggle, we go to Alliance Française. And the babies, they learn French after 2-3 days. Well, we have to become babies again and understand that any language that has that vibration, that frequency, Sanskrit is called the science of vibration. Sanskrit is the oldest language, older than Hebrew and Latin. Very complex language, but very satisfying. Our guru was a master of Sanskrit. They came from all over the world. So he taught us what he knew so well. And we love it, and it feels familiar to us. But if you want us to chant in Hebrew, bring a rabbi and leave him here a month, and we'll chant in Hebrew too. We're very, adaptable because we do not have any, or we try not to have, any sense of preference. We like everything. We like all kinds of music, all kinds of chanting, all kinds of language. The ego is the problem in our lives. Picking and choosing. I like that. I don't like that. Play that. Don't play that. Ooh, headache gives. Be like a baby. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. This is good. This cookie's good. That cookie's good. Don't have so many fixed ideas that have been handed down to us by others. We would have no opinions if not brought up by this mother, this father, this teacher, this sibling, this friend. We're second-hand people. We have to go back to our source, to our natural state of bliss. By the way, if your body, you heard, I came out in meditation, if your body rejects a food and the tongue likes it, listen to the body, not the tongue. See how you do when you swallow. Sometimes a very sweet thing comes back as trouble later. The tongue likes it, but what does the tongue know? Tongue likes many things. Listen to the body. It has its own intelligence. Don't listen to the mind. It has others' intelligence. That you can quote. I've never said that before. I don't want you to quote anything. Those who know me know I'm not serious. All right, here's a question I can also make short work of. My parents have been hoarding things for as long as I can remember. This is getting to be more and more of a problem as they are reaching old age and don't want to throw anything out. Is there anything I can do? Well, I have to give you Guruji's famous mantra. It's called the Maha Mantra. It's the only mantra that he gave any one of us. He gave it to all of us. It was the same. The mantra is, in answer to, is there anything I can do? He said, say 1,008 times, mind my own business. That was the mantra. Mind my own business. What is our business? Our business is enlightenment, is freedom, is ending suffering. What do you care if your parents are collecting things? They've already collected so much, it's already a headache. So it's a little bigger headache, that's all. What are you worrying about? You're going to be stuck with it when your parents pass away. Right? Our son said very hesitantly one day, Mother, did you write any kind of a will? I said, a will? What are you talking about? He said, where do you want your books to go and your tape? You have 1,000 tapes. Where do you want them to go? And photographs, what do you? I said, is that what you're worrying about? I'll make a list. He said, okay. I didn't want to ask you. I don't want you to go anywhere. He was very upset. But he said, it occurred to me, I don't know what to do with your things, with your statues, with your beautiful paintings. What do I do with all of that? I said, I'll make a list. Have I made a list? No, it's too hard. I don't know what to do. I have to think about that. I need more time. Never thought about it. But it happens in every household. Old people, I won't go into why old people hoard and don't throw away things. You know that answer. It's their need. It makes them happy. It makes them secure. You handle that later. Parents are living old, longer, so we'll have more wisdom by the time they pass it. They'll be 100 and we'll be 81. By then we should know what to do with their things. My suggestion is throw everything out. Throw everything out. Look, I'll just say this. It happened only 3 days ago. A niece, a lovely, beloved niece, great niece, visited me. And she's sentimental. And she asked to see some of the old photographs of her great-great-grandfather and her great-grandmother. So I was showing her things. And I brought this in. She said, oh, could I have a copy of that? And Dharmadev, who is my conscience, he said, why don't you give it to her? You don't look at those photographs. Why don't you give all of them? I said, my mother, my father, my grandmother, just give them away. I said, okay, I'm going to give them away. The only one who will miss them, I think, is my housekeeper who comes once a month. She'll say, where are your parents? She doesn't understand. But in one swoop, I did something I hadn't thought to do, I hadn't felt to do in all these years. Since they're gone about 50 years. So, is it 50 years? No, about 30 years. It felt strange, but good. It's very difficult. Got to be a little older. That's why I say when you're 81, you'll have that kind of wisdom to throw everything out, except what somebody that you know wants. If somebody has said, I want those paintings, then you do. But if it's up to you, get rid of them. This was about the ringing. What to do, this comes up so often every retreat, so I may as well read it. What to do if the spouse, it's very bad when someone calls her husband or wife the spouse. What to do if the spouse doesn't share my path to enlightenment, to meditation, vegetarian diet? There is always argument and anger. Should I leave? It's very funny. She meant, or he meant, to write leave, but the word here is should I live the spouse? Interesting. Should I live the spouse? Which is it? I like the second one better. Shall I live the spouse? But she meant, shall I leave the spouse? No, because we were taught if you leave in anger, if you leave because you're resisting, if you leave because you're looking for something better to fill the place of the spouse, you're leaving in a condition that will bring that spouse back next lifetime. That's why they keep returning, because we haven't neutralized them. You neutralize them by really minding your own business. Your business being to, on your own, do those things, live in a way so that you're happy, you're peaceful. Then if he or she wants to leave you and it doesn't matter to you because you're in that desireless state, and actually remember those words. If they knew better, they would do better. If you knew better, you would do better. So help. If somebody is not as wise as you, help if they will allow. If they don't allow, just don't take the initiative. I wasn't going to say that, but it came from behind. Those were his words. Don't you initiate anything, because then you're not letting things happen by themselves. If it's meant to happen, that the husband leaves, your wife leaves, it will happen. The greatest statement I've ever heard in these teachings, the one that transformed me totally, my life, my decision-making, etc., was that Ramana Maharshi said to his mother, who really just wanted him to delay his enlightenment. He said to her, he wrote it actually, whatever is supposed to happen will happen, no matter what we do to try and prevent it. And whatever is not supposed to happen will not happen, no matter what we do to try and make it happen. He says, it's already written. The only thing we can do is change inwardly regarding this path of destiny. We don't make decisions. It seems like we're making a decision. That's why I tell people, don't agonize over a decision. This is what he taught us. Don't get upset. Wait until the last minute, if you can, and enjoy that it happens by itself. It just happens because it's written already. That's why his predictions over 30 years, every prediction he ever gave to myself and my family came true. And they seemed impossible to come true. He told me after the end of my first conversation with him, don't worry, you will leave this career of yours, and in 10, 20 years, you'll be doing this work. What work? This work, my work? I don't think so. I don't think I'm doing something I love. No, 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 that's the mud, he said. You are in mud, what you love. That was the theater. I said, no, no, I'm not doing mud. I'm doing Shakespeare, Ibsen, Chekhov, Turgenev. He said, mud, 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 mud. For you, mud. One day you will do work beyond that. So remember those words, put them on your refrigerator. Whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. And this is said by not one enlightened being, all of them. All of them. So sometimes we have to listen to the testimony of those who know. Whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen, no matter what you do to try and prevent it. And whatever is not supposed to happen will not happen, no matter what you do to try and make it happen. The ordainer or destiny controls everything with that law of cause and effect. Shall I leave the spouse? No. Certainly not before you call him by his name or her name. The first time I ever saw that, I hope the spouse isn't here. That would be very bad. Neutralization. We have to do it so there's no anger left. There's only understanding. Or the fact that it's better for him, better for me. Certainly better for him or better for her that I leave. I did that once with a sibling. I said, we're not good for one another. Let's leave, not see one another until we like each other a little better, or we're not becoming ill when we're in each other's company. It's still going on with it. But in your head, you don't have to feel that way. In your head. That action was taken 40 years ago. But in my head, I have no problem. If the person comes back, that's fine. Person stays away, that's also fine. Can you please comment on the relationship between self-realization and liberation? I think, liberation. And the ultimate sin being pride. That second one would take a very long time. The ultimate sin being pride, because pride comes from the ego. I can say about the ultimate sin, Gurdjieff said the word sine, S-I-N-E, or the root, which is the root of sin, means to be without. Sin means to be without. What is he talking about? Without self, without our true self, without our true life. When we are in our true form, our true self, we can't do any sin, because sin is really from, I don't know what word to call, but a wrong motivation. The gurus can even slap you, can punish you, ignore you. It's not a sin to do that to a disciple. That's a blessing to do that to a disciple. He had an expression which made us laugh all the time. He said, I'm going to enlighten you, Rit, by hook or by crook. He would say that to each one of us. Rebecca, by hook or by crook, I'm going to enlighten you. So watch for any crooked deed on my part, because that's also to enlighten you. He didn't care what technique. He'd use different techniques on people who were obviously sweet and devoted and sincere, and others whose minds were in that state of rebelliousness. He would use another, or some, he would smile 52 teeth. He called that, I smile 52 teeth at those who hate me the most. After a while, they don't know what to do. They're dazzled by my teeth. He didn't show any, he didn't feel any. He was, in fact, amused. He found it interesting that someone would have such a dislike of him. And the relationship between self-realization and liberation, it's one and the same. You realize the self, your true self, that's immediately liberating, freeing. Dear Joan, I get so much from your retreats. I had this thought, why not do this at home? Why not just put aside a day for silence and meditation, taking care of myself? Why not? Why not? Instead of moping on a weekend because you have nothing to do, you have something to do. Make a silent retreat for yourself on Saturday when there's nothing to do. And play the music you like, go to see a movie you like, go take a walk by yourself. Don't answer the phone and don't talk to anybody. Don't answer the door. Be by yourself and enjoy it just as if you were at an ashram. If that doesn't appeal to you, don't do it. But what I like even better than taking a day off is taking time off each and every day to be by yourself and to do just what you want to do and to not take time off from the computer and Facebook. Somebody did that for Lent, she told me. She didn't go on Facebook for a week. She became crazy. But really, make sure that every day you don't have to meditate. Our teacher said, if you meditate 15 minutes, that's fine. Just to get a taste of it. Once you get a taste of it, you want more of it. It's delicious meditation. It's wonderful. But if you